information, I guess.
Bless him, Lord.
If you would, let's go ahead and open your Bibles to John 1, starting verse 39. This is going to be our main text. Now, granted, we're going to have to come back to it later here shortly. This is something I got to study on for quite a while. I told Ryan earlier this morning that it started out with 5 pages of notes, ended up being 7. At one point was 9, so I really don't know where we're going to go. The notes don't really mean nothing. It's just paper, and it's what God gave me at the time. And that's pretty well what I'm going to hang it all on right now, because God's going to have to give it to me if I'm going to do it. I know the last time I stood behind this desk, I preached a message pretty well that I preached myself. And I screwed that up. I failed completely to the church and to everybody. Because honestly, I was distracted. I didn't put God first, and I didn't. Because I remember that message. Ryan said he didn't even remember what I preached on last. I said, I can. I preached on distractions, but it's where I played a video game instead of studying the Word. And I really did. And I apologize to every one of y'all that was here, because I did. But if I got a thought this morning, I only really got one word as far as the title would go, and it would be adaptation. And the definition of adaptation for the biology is a change or process of change by which an organism or species becomes better suited to its environment. Now, the text, we're going to go ahead and start with John. And I may be a little scattered this morning. I apologize. I am nervous as a cat. I ain't going to fib. But we'll start in John chapter 1, verse 39. It says, "And he said unto him, Come and see. They came and saw where he dwelt and abode with him that day, for it was about the 10th hour. One of the two which had heard John speak and followed him, and Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, he first said unto his own brother Simon, and said unto him, We have found the Messiah, which being interpreted, the Christ. And he brought him to Jesus, and when Jesus beheld him, he said, Thou art Simon, the son of Jonah. Thou shalt be called Cephas, or Cephas, however y'all pronounce it, which being interpreted a stone. The following day, Jesus would go forth into Galilee, and findeth Philip, and saying unto him, Follow me. Now Philip was of Bethsaida, and the city of Andrew and Peter. And Philip findeth Nathanael, and said unto him, We have found him, of whom Moses in the law and the prophets did write, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. And Nathanael said unto him, Can there any good thing come out of Nazareth? And Philip said unto him, Come and see. Now, I know I'm going to kind of get off this for a little bit, but that's where it's going to revert back to at some point. If you would, go ahead and go to Jeremiah chapter 6, 16. While I go there. The church has changed a little bit, and that's the problem.
Bless you, Lord. Come on.
I'm not talking about the technology things that we have in the church, like the lights, the better sound system. We have really adapted to the culture around us. And I ain't talking about just this church. I'm talking about church as a whole. And we have. The church has adapted to the culture, but the problem is the culture should adapt to the church. We've let too much of it in. We got to get back to the old path. Now, granted, once again, I'm still not talking about technology, because I know we're going to get TV screens just to help out. You're going to be on YouTube. We have our own app, which is awesome, which means we can reach more. But if we don't stop letting the culture in, as far as respecting the church, as far as discipline in the church, which I'm not really one that can say a whole lot. My kids normally run around the entire place. Sorry. I know when I was raised, if I went to Double Springs with my grandpa, the third bench back from the front is where I sit. Rodney sit on the first spot in the pew. Grandma Corbett, me. We didn't get up. We didn't run around and go play. If I started giggling at Rodney, Grandma Corbett would pinch that little. Yeah, she'd pinch that. And then if me and Rodney did sneak off to the back to start giggling, we'd have them eyeballs burning a hole in the side of your head because you know you're fixing to go outside, and this is going to sound bad because I'm not that old, but Double Springs did have an outhouse. They would take you behind the outhouse and whip you. Whenever I was growing up, it wasn't a big church. Now it's a nice, church, but growing up, it did have an outhouse. I know with me and my kids, I know me up here and with Brittany, thank God that I've married her, helps out tremendously. Because until then, my kids pretty well went to Mama Lynn, to Tanza, to Rachel, anywhere, because I was up here. And I appreciate the church, but we do have to get back to the old ways. And I don't want to say clothing as far as like style. I know a lot of old-timey preachers believe in wearing a suit every time they preach, wearing a suit every time they come. My grandfather, normally I've never seen him hardly ever not in a suit at church. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying it's the thing we ought to do, because I love our church. I love the freedom we have. New Life doesn't really go over to the culture, because our culture is really working class families. That's really what it is. We don't have to worry about the things they worry about in Chattanooga or, say California or anywhere. And this is completely off any of this. I told you it's going to have to be God. I wasn't fibbing. So I've seen it a lot in videos, because at work, when I did work at Road Tech, I'd listen to a whole bunch of preaching. And I can see the pastors up there in ripped up jeans and shirt, trying to be stylish, trying to connect to the younger crowd. I really don't care if you like what I wear. I want you to hear what God has to say through me. It's not what I say, because I'm not the one that says it. If you don't like my pants, buy me some new ones then. If you don't like my shirt, okay, I don't care. Because honestly, all I really owned was work clothes. 10 of these, thanks to Pat. And some khakis and maybe a pair of black dress pants. And I got, I can go to Grandpa's and steal 100 and at least 30 ties because the man has them. But a part of us not going to the culture is they don't know how to act here. A lot of people that come in, and are we really showing them how to act here on how we act out there, which still nothing compared to that, which bothers me. I studied hard. Because when we go out of these walls, where Christ said, compel them to come in, do we? I can't say that I did. I wished I could say I did it more. Now, everyone at Road Tech knew I was a preacher, knew I was a Christian, would come to me, even the guy that worked behind me building conveyors. He'd come up to me, Danny, we need to pray right now. Okay, let's do it. I got no problem with that. But did I actually witness to him?
Come on, brother.
No, and like Jeff was preaching or talking Wednesday, even a few of them that was, break out the GD and start cussing and stuff like that, I didn't really have a whole lot of honey coming from my mouth talking to them. Like, you stop that and stop it now. It's not, I probably had more anger towards it than I did kindness. Now, then I had a few employees that worked with me that said, hey, Danny, if you hear me cuss, stop me, which I like those. I can have fun with that. But the ones that started cussing and they're like, hey, no. Luckily, I'm a big guy. I can intimidate a lot of people. Comes in handy. Now, granted, all 6 of the kids, are they intimidated? No, not a bit. And they're like that tall. Anyone else I can intimidate. But we have to get back to the old ways of going out and talking to people, no matter the consequence of it. We have to let the church change the culture instead of the culture changing the church. Because we've done it way too much. We care about a lot of trivial things that doesn't matter. Because let me tell you, honestly, if Christ came today to church, do you realize we'd have to teach him what church is? He ain't never been to this. He don't know what a deacon is. He don't know what a worship service is. He didn't have none of that. He was. He says, I am the I am. We'd have to teach him everything we're doing. Could we teach Christ the right way? I know it's not a fun thing to think about, because I teach them the right way? Probably not. Because am I teaching my kids exactly the right way when we go home from church and I get mad at them for not listening? Probably not. I can handle it a lot different ways. But we got to get back to the old path. What he said was the old path. Well, here, we'll just go ahead and go with Jeremiah. Chapter 6, verse 16 says, "Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the old way, and see, and ask for the old path, where it is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they say, we will not walk therein. Also I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken the sound of the trumpet. But they say, we will not hearken. Therefore hear ye, O nations, and know the congregation what is among them. Hear, O earth, behold, I will bring evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my words, nor my law, but rejected it." A lot of us are still doing that, even in the church. Because honestly, a lot of us, myself included, I have sit back on God so many times when he said, sing a song. No, don't want to do that. That scares me. He said, preach. That scares me too. He said, stand up and testify. I'd rather not. I said, okay, fine. We're going to start helping teaching a class. All right, let me put that on her, not me. No. Because I failed God so many times, and I don't know if you all do it, but I know I sit back and think about it, and I know God whips me, but I whip me even more. Because I know the consequences of it. What if I had something to say that's not me, but what God wanted to say through me that could have been the key to the whole service?
There you go.
Somebody could have got saved, and I got to carry that. That hurts.
Come on.
Somebody could have got saved for what God wanted to say through me, and I sit down on it.
Amen. Come on. Bless you, God.
That's horrible. We got to get back to the old ways.
Yeah. Hey, glory, hallelujah.
We got to get sin out of our life.
Yeah.
I know before I got married, there was sin in my household. But now God gave me a wife to where I can actually say, me and my house will serve the Lord.
Amen.
And that's more amazing than it has been in a long time, I promise you.
Bless you, Lord. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
So now, a quick little side note, I'll leave that alone. She'll hurt me. We actually got to get up and start fighting, guys. I know this is a battle. We got to win. We're going to win. The back of the book says we does, but how we fight is what truly determines.
Right.
It only took one person to take prayer out of schools.
That's right.
It started in this county.
Come on.
Now it's all over the nation. One person took it out. What did we do as a church? I'm not saying this church, and I'm not pointing at any individual. God, come quickly. They're trying to take it out. They start making abortion legal. God, come quickly. That's what we need. No, it ain't. That's not what God said. A lot of people, and I heard T.D. Jakes use this illustration. He said, everybody's praying for a table. God, give me a table. Give me a table. I need a table, God. God said, I don't make tables. I make wood. You've got to make the table. He said, I gave you the brain, I gave you the knowledge and know-how on how to build something up. He said, I'll supply what you need, but you got to do something. If we want churches, if we want prayer to come back, if we want abortion to be illegal, if we want any sin that is running our culture right now to be gone, we got to stand up and do it. He's already given us what we need. He's already given us the wood, so what table are you going to build? Because I've sat back on it. I didn't build. I've been the one to ask, God, give me a chair, give me a table. God, I need a table. Let me have a table. Until I heard that illustration, it really opened my eyes. I said, I don't make tables. I'll make the wood, which is awesome in my opinion. Now, see, the thing is we have to be the influence. We have to get sin out of our lives because people are watching us. They watch you everywhere you go. And so even like David, even like King David, when he would sin, He didn't do like Saul. Saul went to the prophet and said, come with me, so they will think I'm right with God. David said, I don't give a snot. I'm not a politician. God created me a clean heart, oh God. Renew to me the joy of my salvation. He didn't care about making the prophet go with him so the people would think he's okay. He wanted to know his okay between him and God. That's what we got to start doing. We got to start living for God and start showing it. I know I fail at it because I have an anger. And anyone that said, okay, I can go with this. A lot of people say they want to be happy. You know, 50% of marriages end in this United States or in the world. It is 50-50 right now, but unfortunately it's also 50-50 in the church. You want to know why? He doesn't make me happy. She doesn't make me happy. Do you realize happiness is way too weak of an emotion to hang anything on? Because honestly, my happiness is compromised in traffic. It really is. Can tick me off. I have road rage. And then if you're not in traffic and you want to ride with Jeff, your fear will be compromised. I know why. He's a pastor. He will scare the devil out of you before you get to church. I know what he's doing. But honestly, don't hang nothing on just happy. Now, the joy of the Lord is my strength, what Jeff talked about Wednesday. We can hang everything on joy unspeakable and full of glory, but happiness is nothing, because things are going to happen. You know, my sister passed away, but we were still happy. And that was probably the best funeral other than Crystal's that I've ever attended. Happiness. Because God will come to you and give you joy. But don't hang nothing on happiness. If it's something that can easily be provoked by traffic, by other people, by a crying kid in the middle of the night because I was asleep and good, it didn't matter. My happiness is now affected because I'm not happy. Happiness is nothing. But God can give you joy. And once again, this is not on this whatsoever. And I'm really relying on God because it don't follow nothing I'm trying to do here. As far as happiness goes, because this is all God, this ain't me. I've done gave up. It's just God. And we're not going to go with what I thought we was going to go with, but we'll go over here. I'll tell you in a minute. Go over to 1 Peter chapter 3. When everybody gets there, say amen. Or whoever's going. All right, good enough. All righty. It says, and who is he that will harm you? For if ye be followers of which is good, but ye suffer for the righteousness' sake, happy are ye, but not afraid of the terror, neither be troubled. But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always, giving an answer to every man that asketh a reason of the hope that is in you, my tag's over the word here, that is in you with meekness and fear, having a good conscience, that whereas that speak evil of you, as of evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse you of good conversation in Christ. For it is better if the will of God be so, that ye suffer for well-doing than for the evil-doing. See, I know a lot of our church, and I'm speaking of just this church at the moment, a lot of our churches suffered persecution. Now, the persecution that I suffered I brought on myself. Because anytime I'd get an ounce of responsibility, I'd run away and tuck tail. I ain't going to fib. But I know our pastors suffered persecution a lot. I could go into the list of things I've been told about him, but I'd rather not waste your time. And the sad part is even my grandfather on my dad's side told me if that's the same Watkins from Antioch, don't sit under him. Then started telling me everything that he did. Granted, Rex never met him. but he knew everything about him. I know Ryan suffered persecution. He's hurt other people's feelings because I normally make it known. I've heard that Ryan makes worship service about Ryan. No, he don't. If you want to try it, try it. I'm sure he'd let you try. I've heard some people get offended. He didn't let me sing. Oh, well. I've been told that some people have told him some bad news and he still just smiled. What's he supposed to do? At least he's smiling.
Come on, brother.
It's even went as far as me to be told about Jeff that I said hi to him in the store and he didn't say nothing. They were offended by that. I'm like, did you realize he was probably going 90 miles an hour and never heard you? So I've heard all sorts of stories about them both. I've heard some stories about a lot of people, but don't let this church be a rumor mill. We can't do that. We know the outside world will talk about us. We know that. We know sometimes people get their feelings hurt in church. A lot, because I'm stupid. What's hilarious is Ryan said this just a while ago, and if you want to know where it's actually located, because he said it basically word for word, Matthew chapter 18, verse 15, which I ain't going to make you turn over. It says, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against you, go and tell him alone, and if he shall hear thee, thou hast gained a brother. Do we do that? So I'm not real proud of it, but yeah, I try my best to do that, because whenever he offended me last New Year's, or well, he didn't offend me, I offended me because God didn't tell me to do something. I ain't joking. If you don't know, we had a New Year's service, and Ryan prayed and asked, and God told him who to pick, and I was mad and sat back there and soaked and said, God, why didn't you pick me? And about the time I said that, Ryan said, hey, Danny, come up here and move the pulpit. So I got to do something for God. It wasn't what I wanted to do. So I kind of got a foot to the face there. God can be sarcastic sometimes, especially when he's dealing with a sarcastic person. But I had to go to Ryan before the night was over and apologize to him because I got mad. If I ever got mad at Jeff, I had to go to him and apologize to him. But I still gained my brother. So I got a lot of family right now that's still mad at me. I went to them and they received me not, and ain't nothing I can do about it. But I know I still got my brother and I got my spiritual father. I got my church family here. And I know a lot of people say the church hurt them is why they get out. The church hurt me, which no, it didn't. You got your feelings on your sleeve. The church really can't hurt you. Now, maybe somebody in church said something you didn't like, and that offended you, but that's really God, not the church. I've even went as far as to say myself, well, I'm not getting fed. Well, boo-hoo. That's because I'm asking someone to feed me. I'm supposed to be off the milk and on the meat. That's what the Bible says. Every one of us are. It's not about me. It's about the church. It's about God. We're not building a castle. We're building a kingdom. If we go out and actually bring them in like God said we would, there might be some hurt feelings here and there, but if we actually go to them, apologize to them, and love each other like we're supposed to, that's what truly matters. That's the only thing that matters. And I guess I'm fixing to close up here. Go back to Matthew. Matthew, I think. No, John, sorry. John 1 and verse 46. And it says, and Nathanael said unto him, can there be any good thing come out of Nazareth? And Philip said unto him, come and see. Well, I got one question for you today as I close. Can there be any good thing come out of New Life? Come and see. Can there be any good thing come out of you? Come and see. If you got troubles, come and see what he can do. If you got heartaches, come and see. If you're mad at a brother, come and see. It doesn't matter, because I know we may say the church hurt me, but I promise you, the church hurt Christ as we did so much more than we could ever hurt him. That's all. We always hurt him more. Because any sin we choose to do, we're choosing it saying, I don't love you enough to stop doing this, so I'm going to. I've done it myself. So if there can be anything good, come see.